We still do 7 NUFC Matters show a week for free. But if you want to help support NUFC Matters, then there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast and video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications bell so you don't miss a single show. If you want to help us financially, then you can join the channel using this button with the membership starting at $1.99 a month. Or you can drop us a donation in the chat using a super sticker. We're also looking for sponsors. If you'd like your brand advertised on the flyers for the show and featured during the ad break, then email John at nufcmatters.com to arrange today.
Hush now, city kids, gather round for other men's. Hush now, city kids. When it came to me after so long, I didn't have no choices in the streets where I was from. When I think about the pain, I didn't have no choices, I took what I had sworn. Hush now, city kids, gather round for rubbing beds. Hush now, city kids. But you know, they wouldn't let you have it any other way.
Good evening, welcome to NUFC Matters. It is the Fans Forum. Full house tonight. George, Barry, Ian, Darren, Spenny, Magnus, Alan, Kevin and Tom are all with us, and there are plenty to talk about. There'll be no live shows next week. As always, just before the season starts, I like to have a few days off. So we will be looking ahead to next season tonight. And I'm going to start with a question to the lads. Quite a simple one. Who should be captain if Trippier is not going to be playing next week when we play Southampton at home? And Lascelles, of course, still injured. Our two first-choice captains are out. And this guy who put this up on his social media seems to be in the driving seat. I'm very happy to be starting another season with this club that's done so much for me since my first day here. I'm glad to be back and more prepared than ever. Have a brilliant season and to help Newcastle reach the highest possible position. Another dream has come true. Being the captain of this team is everything I've always dreamed of, but never imagined. We're in this together, and I'm sure I'll be more dedicated than ever to this badge. That sounds like a statement of intent, not only for Newcastle United fans with Bruno as a player, but also as a captain, George. Is he the right man for the job?
It's nothing like having somebody that's confident in that role. And he seems to be ready for it. And the other thing is, if you want a leader, you want somebody who's going to be leading on the field by example as well as by other things off the field. The thing that sways it slightly for me was last season. Remember when he was hanging on game after game for that last booking? And the question was, would his temperament let him do it? Well, when he managed to do that, that for me told me there was a lot more to Bruno than we imagined. And that lot more could well mean that he's an excellent captain. And from what I could see at the weekend, I mean, it wasn't the best result, but it seemed to go down well with the lads he was playing with, and he's now that his English is getting better, he's good in front of the camera as well. He speaks a lot of sense with the sort of affirmation of his position. He likes his position, and you've just read a statement out there where he feels Newcastle now. He's felt that for a long time, so you couldn't ask for anybody better, in my opinion. So I would be absolutely delighted if he was to be the captain for the beginning of the season, and then sort out what happens when Lascelles and if Trippier's still here come back. But my inclination would be if he gets the shirt, he should keep it. Would be my inclination, I'm afraid. Even though Lascelles has done so well as club, on the field, I'd be inclined to make leave with Bruno. He's very popular. You just need to look at the video with them coming off the pitch and when they're going into the dressing room to meet people and all this sort of thing. Bruno's usually one of the first to put his arms around people and welcome them and all this sort of thing. So, no, I think it would be a good move from the club's point of view. And if it's not, he'll be found out very quickly. But I don't think he will. I think the evidence of so far is that it would be good and it would suit me. I'd be quite happy.
Barry, what's your thoughts? Bruno as captain, or is it Dan Burn for you? Do you think if Dan Burn is available and fit to play, or is there another contender?
I was going to say for me it would be Burn. I think Burn's got the one thing that Bruno hasn't shown for me yet, which is the ability to yell at people, to shout instructions, to motivate people that way. I think Bruno does it more through his playing and his ability. He edges people on, and obviously his skills inspires the rest of the team. Whereas I think Burn's more of a vocal thing. But why I would agree with George. I think Bruno might well get it because I don't think Burn's going to play all the time. I think especially if we get this kid from Crystal Palace, I think him and potentially Sharp to start with, and then him and Botman will be the two first choice centre backs. So the common sense thing might be to give it to Bruno, who, you know, for a fact is going to be number one choice in the midfield. I think he's got it in him, Steve. I just think he needs to be that bit more vocal around the team. For me, he like I say, he does it through his playing rather than his encouragement. But seeing that, we don't see what goes on behind the scenes. We don't see, like George says, all the aspects where he's encouraging people. I mean, you can't knock his stuff on Facebook, and obviously the stuff we've seen over the weekend where he went across to Japan and obviously was welcomed with open arms. Is obviously a huge liking for the guy from the rest of the squad. So why not? Like I would just say, be a bit more vocal when he's on the pitch, but maybe that's not his style. You know what I mean? Maybe he does it a different way. But yeah, I would have said he was either first or second choice for me.
Okay, I mean, for me, Ian, I think Bruno would be a great choice. And yeah, I know reading something can be misconstrued, but listening to the way Bruno was talking there, it's almost as if he's been asked to do the job now. And I mean, I know he was asked to do the job at the weekend in Japan, and he's just saying it's an achievement, you know, beyond his wildest dreams kind of thing to be able to do that. But you've got to think you'd be in contention.
If he's not been asked to do the job, that's Bruno saying, I want the job.
Give it to me.
You know, like, for me, he leads by example on the pitch. He literally dictates everything that happens on that pitch, especially when Trips isn't playing. And I still don't think Trips will be here by the end of the window. I think Trips is away, which I don't know for definite, but I just get that feeling. I think Bruno couldn't be much more committed to the tune, but he's just put it down in writing there, saying, if I could be any more committed, this is what's going to make me more committed. And I tell you what, if we can get him to stay at our club for the next 2 or 3 years, we will be lifting trophies, guaranteed. You know, so why not give it him? He proved, for me, his maturity in that 12-game run where he had to rein it in, and he did it for the team, and he said all the way through, you could see how hard it was for him, even in that last game where where it was the 12th game, and I was like, he's going to get a yellow card here, because you could tell he was getting frustrated, but he put the team first before his own, before his own ego, if you want to put it that way. He stopped himself being that hot-headed Brazilian maestro that he is, and he just took a back step and said, I'm doing this for the team, and he did it. He said he'd do it, and he did it. None of us, I don't care none of us on here thought that he'd go 12 games without a yellow card. I didn't anyway, and I'm sure nobody else did. And I think this could be the making of him, and it could solidify him as a team player for the next 2 or 3 years before he goes to Real Madrid, to become the world beater that he obviously is going to be. If we can keep him for that 2 or 3 years, that is massive for us. So give it him. Dan Burn will always be a captain on and off the pitch, whether he's got an armband or not. He's a Geordie. He's He's a big man, but he's a big personality as well. If he's playing, he will always do that role. I don't think Dan Burn would bat an eyelid if he wasn't giving it and Bruno was. That's the sort of guy he is. He's all about the team. He's not about him. So give it Bruno and let's see what happens.
If he does get at the end, do you think it's because of that little spell that he did have at the end of last season where, he had to keep out of the referee's notebook?
I think it is, yeah. I think he proved himself to be, he's matured. It's like Gordon, when Gordon first came and he got subbed on and then subbed off and he had that little pissy fit and I think it was Richie put his arm around his shoulder and that was the turning point for Gordon. He grew up on that, maybe not on that day, but the day after that day when he obviously had it out, when he had it out with Eddie, and that was the changing point there. And I think for Bruno, as affable and as lovable, and everyone loves him and all that he knew if he messed up in that 12-game period, we would be in a really shit situation. And so he didn't. And I think that was his. That's like not that he wasn't a man, but you know what I mean. That was him, showing that. Showing he's all about the team and he's not about Bruno. And if you get someone with Bruno's talent, skills, and the way he can dictate a football match, and they've got that loyalty and maturity and some nous, you're not missing much, are you?
No, definitely not. Tom, hope you're well, mate. Give us your thoughts on potentially giving Bruno the captain's armband this season.
Well, he's certainly charismatic, and he's the leader on the pitch. I do have concerns, though. It was Aguirre for PSG that he punched in the back of the head as he was running down the pitch last year. So he's got a hot streak in him, and I think that is in the spring he certainly showed a different side. I think we were all surprised he made it through 12 matches or whatever it was. But that's less than a year ago that he actually did something I view as almost unforgivable. So
I deserved it.
Well, he's Uruguayan, right? So I think there is a little bit of blood from the Copa Americas or whatever. I love Big Dan Burn. I think he's the guy. I understand that he's not going to be on the pitch all the time. And when he's not on the pitch, if Bruno would be the second guy, I would say that would be perfectly fine with that. But to give him outright, again, I'm going against the grain here, but I'm not really convinced. Someone who does that, and he could have been yanked off on that 12th match, if you remember, was something that I thought was a little petty. So a little nervous. I think Trippier set such a high bar for me that I don't think that Bruno's quite to that level.
Okay, Darren, thoughts on Bruno potentially being the captain of Newcastle United next season?
I've just been thinking about it when you mentioned it. Is you need your captain who's going to play every game, and Bruno will play every game. I can't remember the last for that. It may be a bit too early to be captain. I would like to see Joe Linton as captain. Me personally, I know they've got a leadership group at the team and Newcastle on this, so. Could Bruno go into that first and then be vice captain? And do you know what I mean? Like they've got a back behind the scenes, they've got like a leadership group. Like all the players have four or five of them leaders group, don't they? I believe.
Yeah.
I think going that first and see how he does in that, but he can work to being captain. I would want to see Joe Linton to be captain or Shaw. Correct. If we don't get the centre half, Shaw, correct. He plays a lot of games. But if it's Bruno, he'll be happy because it's a step the right direction that he's going anywhere anytime soon. But he just needs hot-headed, isn't he? So that's the only thing you want to watch him on that. But,
do you not get where we're coming from when we say that he really curbed his temper? I can get where you and Tom are coming from, but he curbed his temper at the end of last season when he had to.
I'm not feeling hot-headed, but you wouldn't mind actually like, as the captain. You wouldn't mind seeing your captain losing your temper, would you? Probably gets you. Well, I play football. Your captain, I mean, you get encouraged about that, don't you? So you want to encourage your teammates by playing better that way. So it's not a bad thing necessary. So maybe a little bit good thing in him.
Okay, Magnus. Good evening. Your views on Bruno potentially being the captain next season? Would you like to see that?
Good evening. Yeah, I was actually thinking about this a little bit. For him, I think this is a big deal for him, and I think it was a nice touch of Eddie Howe to let him carry it for 45 minutes. I don't believe that he is, gonna be the next captain, but I understand the cultural difference. I recently watched the series of Maradona, and I remember the manager of the national team flying a long way to give him the captain's armband and making sure he knew that he was the leader of that team. And we all know the rest was history in 1986. I think this is a lot bigger deal over there than it is maybe for us or over here in the western side. Because for us it's more about togetherness and unity and being united. But still, there has to always be a leader of men amongst us, taking things on the chest when needed. And I've heard Peter Crouch talking about it's not as charming as it always sounds. Sometimes it means you have to be dealing with handing out the tickets, and you have to be the first one to arrive and last one to leave. It's not always. It's not always for everybody to be that guy. I think he can be that guy. Rather that this is an indication. I'm also often jump to conclusions. I often to the conclusion maybe he told us something that we haven't heard. Maybe Trippier is leaving after all. And then I would love to see it being shared between him and Dan Burn. Dan Burn being a local lad and a strong character, leader of men. But I've also seen him lose his head a little bit sometimes. And the way you put it, curbing his temperament, but it's a nice way of putting it. 10 games without receiving a yellow card. I mean, the guy is still growing, and do we ever stop growing and becoming better men? And I guess this was a little bit of a crash course, having to do it in such a manner and not conceding a yellow card for 10 games. He came pretty close against Lo Celso right in that end of that game against Spurs, wasn't he? That was a typical Argentinian Brazilian thing.
Yeah, good stuff. Denise Applewhite, good evening. She's a new member and big fan of the show. Nice to see you in the chat, Denise. She says that Bruno is the leader on the pitch with how he pushes play in the right direction for a win. Agree, he's matured, not getting that yellow and being captain takes him to the maximum stage of maturity. Thanks, Denise. Spenny, interesting stuff with especially the tweet that he put out. It's great because I think we could have all done with that maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, because I think it's all settled where minds that he's staying this season. His mind's fully focused on staying at Newcastle. And Luke Edwards putting his money where his mouth is tonight and claiming that Newcastle are very close to signing Mark Gay, which would be great news. But what's your thoughts on potentially Bruno being the captain next season, Spenny? Is he one of the guys you could rely on, do you think, as a Newcastle fan to be captain of Newcastle next season?
I love Bruno the bits. I think he's our best player on the pitch. But for me, it's a no. I wouldn't make him captain. I'll go with someone who's got a bit more experience and has been captain of their country and the team they last played for, and I will go for Tyne myself. He's got all the credentials to be captain. Fair enough, he's gone through his gambling ban, his gambling addiction, and he's proven that to the club he's got to prove himself this season. For me, it's Tyne. For me, he should be captain. And I think the lad you just mentioned, Crystal Palace, that's one as well, because he's captain of Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
We're saying a few. We're saying, I mean, if Mark E comes, he is captain of Palace. We've also got, we've got one or two other potential contenders and people who've captained the team. But I guess it's who goes down well in the dressing room. And I mean, if Trips does leave, and Lascelles isn't fit, you've got a captain and a vice captain potentially available, and maybe that's where Bruno's going to be as well. He might have just been saying he was delighted to be captain, and it's another tick in the box.
You cast your mind back, Steve. In the 90s, we had about 4 or 5 captains in that team, and Keegan's team. We had Rob Blaze, Shearer, Batty, all of them. All leaders on the pitch, and that's how you win games. That's how Man U won all them games.
We've got a lot of leaders as well, haven't we, Spenny? When you look around the pitch,
Gordon's even the leader. Gordon's even the leader. The media. Brilliant with the media, Gordon.
Yeah. Okay, interesting stuff. Alan, thoughts on the captaincy going into the new season and Bruno staking a claim?
Well, if he was captain, would anybody mind? I think it would be great because of his enthusiasm, and George nailed it. And the other lads, when he had the last booking, he never got booked in 12 games. But when you look at it, if you look at the squad in total, you've got Lascelles who's injured. He could be away. Trippier could be away. Byrne wouldn't be a regular starter. And then you've got Shaw, who would be my favourite, to be honest. But if it wasn't them four, and Spenny put a spanner in the works for us because I never gave him a thought tonight. What about Nick Pope being the goalkeeper? But, as it stands, Bruno would be a fantastic choice. I agree with Tom, what he said. He got his reservations because maybe he does spit his dummy out at times. But for motivating and the will to win, be a great choice.
Yeah, okay. Kev, captains are a big part of the dressing room, but we know... the lads have mentioned it as well. Having the players committee is just as important as well. But Bruno, how do you see that going? Do you think that would be a good choice for Newcastle United going into next season as a captain?
I do, and I think it was a little insight from Saturday's game or the last game in Japan, whenever it was, of what the future could look like in terms of the captaincy and the leadership role, because I think he epitomizes everything what we embody as fans. And I think the passionate level, yes, the work rate, the wanting to kick lumps out of people when he's, when he has to, and be a bit nasty on that football pitch. And that's what you've got to have as a captain. But at the same time, the word is maturity. And I think what I would do is, if I was Eddie Howe, I would put that on his head, on his shoulders, and sort of say, hey, this is now your responsibility, and grow up a little bit, and mature as a footballer and as a man and as a person. Yes, be involved in the leadership groups and things like that. But again, with his, because I know some Brazilian people are very, very passionate and very outspoken in terms of their emotion, and they're very emotive people and like just love things through stories, and that's how they go with people. That's what they are, which is brilliant. And that's what we are as people. We're very emotive as fan bases. So I would put him as captain, but keep him on a very short leash. Essentially, get your feet wet. If it doesn't work, well, we've got others in there. If Trippier stays, well, you can have him as a captain as well. You've got other people have said. You've got Dan Byrne, you've got Fabian Shaw, you've got whoever to really step into that role. But for me, I would make him captain for the first game of the season and give him that bigger responsibility, which again makes him feel loved, makes him feel wanted, makes him feel a part of it, and drive a team. But with his ambitions and with his goals to get into the Champions League, because if it was one player he'll probably do, it would be him to drag everybody along with him and pull him as one versus maybe, I'm not saying Kieran Trippier didn't, but there's different skill sets there. So for me, yeah, I would.
Okay, yeah, well, I would say the same as well. To be honest, I think Bruno would make a great captain. I think anything as well that gives him that little bit of extra maturity and that extra boost within himself, I think would help. I can admit that Tonali wouldn't be my first choice, only because of what happened last season. I think he's got to, as somebody mentioned in the chat, he's got to earn his place for starters, and he's got to earn our, I don't want to say trust, I just think, he's got to...
Respect.
He's got to earn the respect. Yeah, it's a great word.
I'll agree with you, Steve.
I think Tonali needs to prove what he can do on the pitch before anything like that happens. And I think there's enough responsibility on him trying to fit into the Premier League without having that added pressure of being a captain. I'm not one for goalkeepers as captain either. I don't think Dan Burn, and I don't think Dan Burn would mind if he wasn't. But I can also see the plus point of having Dan Burn as the captain. But I mean, how many people were clamouring for Dan Burn not even to be in the team last season? And is he going to start? There's lots of unanswered questions as to what's going to happen. We'll not get one thing's for certain. We'll not get any clues from Friday and Saturday's Cellar Cup because Eddie will completely bamboozle Southampton with what he does and who he plays. We'll not have any idea who starts against Southampton, but it's interesting. We've got options at the back, and if Mark Gay does arrive today, tomorrow, or Wednesday, whenever he comes along and signs on the dotted line, suddenly we've got a world-class England international coming into that back four as well to go alongside a Swiss international, alongside Dan Burn, alongside Lloyd Kelly, alongside I've got to say it, Kraft, who's not let us down at all since he came back from injury. Suddenly we've got a huge strength and depth, and with Botman slowly making a recovery, things are about to get exciting in the back four if we are indeed going to make that signing that Luke Edwards seems to think we are. But yeah, I would have no problem with Bruno being the captain. He's certainly earned our respect. He's one of our best players. Somebody chucked Isak into the mix as well in our personal chat there. Tom said Isak should be in the conversation for captain too. Yeah, for me, there's plenty of options, but those who aren't captains, I'm sure can still be captains on the pitch, and it's going to be an exciting season. Okay, we're going to have a quick ad break. When we come back, because there's no live shows next week until the Amigos a week on Friday, we're going to ask the lads who they think, where they think Newcastle will finish next season, and will next season be the season when we finally win a trophy.
A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find their website at skipsandbins.com. Contact us, www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. Their website, mrvickies.co.uk. Email info@mrvickies.co.uk. Telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to United Group Travel. They are the Travel and Tourism Award winners in 2024. Their website, www.unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com or telephone 01670 632 460 or mobile 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. A big thanks to Media Arts. You can find them at www.media-arts.co.uk. And don't forget, we are a podcast. You can find us on iTunes or Spotify or other podcast providers. If you want to help the channel grow, then hit the like button, the little thumb underneath the video, click share and share to your social media, or join the channel for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to take out a one-off payment membership, go to nufcmatters.com and hit membership. And for a £25 fee, you get a scarf, a cup, a pen, and a membership card. You can also put a smartphone over the top of this QR code. It'll take you straight there. And don't forget, we also help the food bank on this channel. nufcfansfoodbank.co.uk is a website where you can make a virtual donation today.
And if you're watching the program on Twitter, make sure you get onto YouTube, search NUFC Matters and hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Couple of do's for next year as well. Peter Beardsley's at the Irish Centre. Tickets available from newcastlelegends.com. And the entertainers, 15 of the guys are turning up at the Tyne Theatre, Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk, 0844 249 1,000 is the number if you want tickets for that. And don't forget as well, we do support Dementia Matters on here, and they are holding a summer fair at the 3 Mile Inn, and that's Sunday the 1st of September, 11 o'clock till 2 o'clock. It's a family event, plenty going on there, and they are raising funds for Dementia Matters. Free entry at the 3 Mile Inn, 1st of September, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. And I think we've just found Spenny burner account. Where's that comment gone? There it is. Dean C says, Steve, are you captain of the fans forum or gaffer? Because I'd put Spenny as captain if not.
I'd say Steve, you're more like the manager, and Spenny's the bloke who cleans the boots afterwards.
I thought you were going to hear the box. I thought you were going to say the box. Denise Applewhite says sometimes you don't need to give the natural lead as the captain. Sometimes you do it for other reasons, like Bruno, to get him to rise to that next level of maturity, as he's the potential captain to be. Barry's chipped in by saying Steve's the gaffer, George would be captain for me. Oh, here we go. Who should be the captain of the NUFC Matters? Of the NUFC Matters.
Sounds good, like, because I'm straight to the point.
Spenny's captain Pugwash, says Mark Byers. We all know what happened with him. Love that we're recruiting for the academy. Yes, Kevin, we are. Okay, and Barry's the doorman, says Yano. Brilliant.
If I'm Captain Pugwash, he's Seaman Stearns.
Yes, move on.
Oh dear.
Roger the cabin boy.
Yeah,
Oh dear.
Kevin, I'm going to come to you first, mate, because you patiently waited until last before. So, season ahead, mate. That's what we're going to ask now, because as I say, no live shows next week apart from the Amigos. So I want to know, first of all, your prediction for next season. Where do you think Newcastle will finish, and will next season be the season that we end our trophy drought?
I'll go with that one first. Yes, I think we will. I'm not going to go along the lines of putting a cheeky bet on like you did with a treble, like. But I mean, I think I might Carabao Cup, FA Cup, one of those domestic trophies. I think the league's beyond us just at this moment in time. We're on that right track, but I think realistically, I think we'll not scrape fourth. That's the wrong word, but I think we'll get into the Champions League with the less demands of the Champions League and everything that's been discussed and what we already know. So I think we'll go into the Champions League. I think we'll be a constant threat within the Premier League over the course of the season, and I think we'll give even the Man Cities of the world. Well, Liverpool are in a restructure, Chelsea are in a restructure. So it's only really Arsenal and Man City who you really have to worry about at this point. No, I want to be first team coach. To be honest, that's too much work for me as a director of football. Just on that comment there. So I genuinely believe and pretty confident that we'll get into the Champions League and or a domestic trophy.
All right, great stuff. What about you then, Alan?
Yeah, I'm going to be super negative.
Go for what?
Finish third.
Third? That's not negative.
That's super negative for me. I think there's 8 clubs out there, lads, and every show is like this. The fans from Aston Villa to Spurs, man, but they'll be saying the same thing. We can make top 4, and it depends who we get from now until September. I'm praying and hoping in my lifetime we'll win a trophy. So I'll say yes, we can win a trophy, Steve. I'm just praying and hoping we can do it. But I'll be super negative and go third, because I think without any European football, we've got a great chance of getting in the top 4. And I think Man City, like Kevin said, I think Man City, Arsenal, have got deeper squads, but the other teams are trying to catch them up, and so are we. And I think third is there for the taking.
Yeah, well, I've put a quid on 50. I've got 1,500 to 1 for Newcastle to win the treble, Alan.
Not a bad bet.
Hey, it's a quid. It's 1,500 quid, mate, if it comes in. Plus me pound back. Benny, are we going to win a trophy? Where are we going to finish in the league?
Surprised by Alan's comment saying we're third. Is that including the 60 million you're only spending on this transfer?
Stop. We're not talking about that. I'm going to tell. I've told everybody about it. No more of this betting malarkey. There was no bet taking.
I'm not going there, Steve. I mean, I'm not going to.
You didn't comment on the professionals either, so well done,
No,
Alan.
he's learning.
Well
I
done,
kept my
Alan.
mouth shut because we've never spent a rapper yet. So,
Well, what have? But never mind. We're nearly with 65 to 70 million for Gee. We're over 130 million then.
I won't comment,
Oh.
Steve, because we're
Double
so
bouncy.
we're so
Bouncy's going to get
65
it.
Yeah.
million. Because if you go down that route, Ashley's the biggest spender in our history. If you go down that route,
Anyway.
Anyway, I'll go back to me.
Yeah.
Second place, I think, with the signs I've heard it's coming. We get that centre back, which you just mentioned there. And we get a right winger. I think we can go for second.
What have you heard, Spenny? What have you heard?
And I think in the cup we'll win the FA Cup and we'll get the quarterfinals of the League Cup.
All right.
That's my predictions.
So you're as positive. You're almost as positive as me. At the moment, I'm still the most positive person on this podcast. I'm going for the treble. So Darren, I've got to be honest. I've dreaded this.
You're getting relegated.
I literally haven't slept the last 2 nights waiting for this show to be done.
I think we'll finish 6th place.
George is having enough.
George is booking up.
6 or 7, I think.
coming back when it's
I
sure.
think we'll have 2 good cup runs, but I don't think we'll win anything. It's a marathon, not a sprint. I think this year we're getting more players in, and next year get a couple more in and challenge next year. I'd say this year again 6th or 7th.
Oh, hold on! You said 7th now. You've got to make your mind up. You said 6th.
6th. I'll go with 6th. I've got the best I can offer.
And we're not going to win anything.
No.
Right. Okay. I'm going to bookmark this program, lads, and this week make sure that I have all of this. So
It's
6th
not
place.
under your dogs.
Keep
Under
the
your
program.
dogs.
Keep the program. That'll be good.
All right. Time to go to you, Tom. What's your feelings? Are we going to win a trophy, and where are we going to finish in the league?
Well, do the league first is that City and Arsenal, they had a goal differential of 62 last year. We had 23. Close to 40 goals is a big obstacle to overcome. Now, we're not going to give up 62 goals this year. Pope being back will cut that in by a third. So we're going to be in the mix, but I don't think first or second's for us. I think third. Liverpool hasn't done anything. They got a new manager. They're in a little bit of flux. Some of the other teams around us, Villa, they had some outgoings, some ingoings, but with their strength of schedule and ours, I think that puts us ahead of them. So I'm pretty strong with the third, and I think our goal differential is going to be twice of what it was last year at a minimum. So we had 23 last year. We'll have 46 minimum, and that's going to put us right in third place. As far as winning the cup, I think it's our year. I think that we get a cup for sure. We got some depth in squad. I think we really take it seriously at the top, all the way down through the club to the players. That if we get within striking distance of a cup, we're going to put out some strong teams, and I think we're going to bring it home.
Okay, great stuff. Bit of positivity there. Ian, what's your feelings then on the season ahead?
Sorry, I was just putting a message on the group. Second.
Second, okay.
I think we're coming second. I think Arsenal are going to drop off. I've just got a feeling. I think that last season they bottled it, and I've just got a feeling that they're going to drop off. I would love to know what Spenny knows. Not saying that he's in the know, but he did just say from what I've heard. So that'd be interesting. Just tell us on the private group chat what you've heard. But I think we will sign a top class, if not world class, right winger, right forward, and I think we will. If we don't get Gay, I think we'll get somebody equally as good as him and then we are solid. Then we are really solid. And you know, you're looking at the players now that we're going to have on the bench, and it's, you know, it's mouthwatering. This is the best squad, arguably, that I've ever seen for Newcastle. We haven't got Europe, which is obviously gutting, but I think that'll play into our hands this season. And I think we, if not second, third, but I'm gonna go bold. I'm gonna go second.
Okay, second, and winning a cup, Ian, as well, yeah.
Oh yeah, we'll win all them.
Yeah, all right, Barry. If you can,
I'm going to sound negative now after him. For me, I think I think City will walk it. I don't think anybody still is within grasp of getting above them. So I think it's going to be between us and Arsenal for second place, and I think Arsenal is still too strong for us. I think we'll come in third, which I think it'll be great for the confidence because we'll finish above Liverpool, we'll finish above Chelsea, Man United. I disagree with the cups only in respect of I think we'll get to the semis for one, which unfortunately I think is probably going to be the FA Cup, and I think we'll win the Carabao Cup, Steve. Hopefully, fingers crossed, because I think some of the big clubs disrespect it that little bit more. So I think the Carabao Cup is probably a little bit easier to get to, but I would love to see us win the FA Cup just simply based on the history that we've got with the competition. But I think I've got a feeling that we'll get fairly close to both of them. But if anything, we'll win the Carabao Cup, and then obviously we'll just get stronger next season now that we've won that amazing trophy, that we've finally broken that duck and getting something in the trophy cabinet.
Okay, George, coming to you, and then to Magnus. How do you feel about the season ahead?
Well, optimistic. So optimistic. I think we'll finish second. But in terms of the FA Cup, I've been practicing. And what have I been practicing? It hasn't been out since 1955. I might even paint it. I think we'll win the FA Cup this year. It's just to be in the water, as they say. Just have a feeling with the pressure off of Europe, it'll just give with that extra lift, and the bench is going to be that little bit stronger, so we won't do silly things like we did at Sheffield Wednesday a couple of years ago and send a half team, and because we were short of players. We don't need to do that anymore, in my opinion. The bench is getting stronger, and as Botman and others come back to full fitness, the big problem we'll have will be who goes on the pitch more than anything, which is great for the team. So second in the league and win the FA Cup, definitely. So how are you?
Does sound like a gun going up that, but Magnus. So the question is, you've been having a few issues with your internet. The question is, where do you think Newcastle will finish next season, and will next season be the season that we finally win that elusive trophy?
Yeah, how can you come after such a entrance from George, man? Well done, man. This is the spirit, man. You know, go big or go home. You know, I am feeling very optimistic, but maybe not as optimistic as some of the other lads on the panel. But I am feeling we are going to be. And I'm expecting us to qualify for the Champions League. And that in its own, I feel, is a great accomplishment, you know. Because if you think about it, the season before last season, we were fantastic. We didn't have the interruption of European football. We had barely no injuries. And even if we have injuries that is more like around 3 to 7 squad members and not 10 to 15, you know, then I am really optimistic for the season. I'm going to say league position of we're going to be fourth this season. I'm sorry, maybe you guys are.
Both to be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, he's cut off in his prime again. Unfortunately, he has some bad internet problems in Iceland.
You on the toilet?
No, he's in his living room. I think. Hold on. No, he's disappeared now. I can't get back on. But the picture he left with, I can get where you're coming from there. Yeah. You know what? From my perspective, I know I put this bet on because of the odds are fantastic, but I do just have that feeling that Newcastle will be in and around that title race this season. I can see it happening this season, and not just because we haven't got European football, because we can't have the same kind of season as we had last season with injuries, and that was the downfall. And despite everyone, over the course of the summer saying we need a centre forward, it looks very much likely as if Asula will be announced. So we've achieved that, ticking the box. And the next thing was to really strengthen that centre-half position if we could. And it looks potentially as if we've already brought in, Kelly from Bournemouth, that has to be said, comes with a few injury issues in the past, but he's fit at the moment. And if we can bring in Mark Gay, that really puts us in a great position. I agree with what Ian said.
Essentially 100 million spent on the defence in this transfer.
And if the reports in the weekend are true about Mitchell going across to watch the Galatasaray player, although they didn't perform well, lost 5-0, I think, and he only came on as a sub, that right winger position that we've all talked about through the summer as well could also be filled. So we're in a really good position if that happens. But let's see. There's plenty of time to go in the transfer window. Lots of excitement and certainly a lot of optimism amongst the fans forum. Let's talk about our number one striker, George Alexander Isak, 14-1 to become the Premier League's top scorer. I noticed that other goal scorer, Erling Haaland, said he's not really on top form at the minute. That was after he bagged his hat-trick at the weekend. Just talk about Isak. Do you think he's got a chance of hitting that top spot if he can stay injury-free this season?
If he'd had a full season this season, he would have been knocking on the door this season. Because he wasn't that far away, considering how many fewer games he played than Haaland and the others. So, yes, he could be a candidate for the Golden Boot. And in the way he's performing, he's so sharp and nipping it and getting that goal at Hull. It's a striker's influence, a striker's nose. He dived in with pace and nobody was watching, and that's how strikers get away with things. And he's very good at that. But also he's generating stuff for other people as well. He's making chances as well as scoring goals. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a candidate for Golden Boot. Definitely.
Okay. And what about you, Barry?
Yeah, I think the one of the issues for me last season was we played him when he maybe wasn't 100% fit because we didn't have a lot of choice. We didn't have anybody else to come in. I think given the chance to do a little bit of rotation and maybe take him off when there's no pressure on or whatever and bring whoever on to replace him, I don't see why not. For me, there's only two at the minute. There's only him or Haaland who's going to get they're the only two real, what you would class as predators out there in the Premier League at the minute. And I think Isak can, with the right number of chances, he doesn't miss a great deal. Like George says, he's got that Ian Rush ability to just be in the right place at the right time and just even more so than Rush. I think he's more skillful than Rush was as well. I think he's capable of creating his own goals. So if we can keep him fit and not pressure him into playing when he's not 100%, why not, Steve? I think it's probably a hell of a bet to put on, to be honest, to get him the Golden Boot. I don't see why not.
Plenty good bets out there. I think Isaac top scorer is one of them, 14-1. Obviously, would tell you to bet responsibly whenever we're on this show. But that's definitely a good one. There's plenty of others I've seen. Some people have took Hall and Tino to get England call-ups, which wouldn't surprise me at all. It depends on how many games Hall plays. I saw another one as well. Newcastle have scored 5 or more in a Premier League game 3 or more times. Lots of positivities, especially after the season we had last season. But Isaac, top goal scorer, Ian, he was brilliant last season. And as Anthony Amos says there, ice cold, and Alex, definitely ice cold, isn't he? But he's red hot when he's on form as well.
Yeah, and he's got everything. I know, like people doubt him in the air, but actually, he scored 2 half decent headers last year. Yeah, that's not his game. But I tell you what, I would not swap Isak for Haaland. Haaland's a flat track bully, you know. Like Isak is for me a better footballer and a better striker. And if he can stay injury free, which hopefully he will do, now we've hopefully got, fingers crossed, got 3 strikers there now. You know, Wilson possibly will be, his injury problems might be solved with this little operation. I've never heard of a 5-week back operation, so it's just a little nip and a tuck in it. That, you know, like, so that's what's that about? Is that just something to stop him like getting injured constantly? Sounds a bit like my sciatica, that, doesn't it? You know what I mean? Yeah. You're like that Asula, the kid who's meant to be coming in, who I think he had his medical yesterday or today or whenever it was. I had a look at him. I ain't seen much of him. He's done nothing for Sheffield United. But bloody Pele couldn't have done nothing for them last year. They were shite, weren't they? You know what I mean? Let's be honest. They couldn't score in a brothel last year. They never got the ball really to do anything. On odd occasions they did, you know. But you can't hold that against the lad. I had a look at him. And all right, it's different levels, but he looks like he's got a left foot, a right foot. He's quick. He likes closing down. He looks like a proper Eddie Howe striker. And if he's there as well, and we've got Wilson, who's a proven goal scorer, if we can keep him fit, and Isak, if we don't flog the life out of him, for me he's looked really good and on fire in the pre-season. I think we with the added to the defence and everything, I think that Isak will score a bag full of goals, but I think the other lads will get some as well.
Okay, what's your thoughts, Tom?
I've never seen anybody with ice water in their veins like Isak. He's such a smart, ice cold player that I wouldn't put anything past him. I think that his best days are ahead of him, and he's going to have a real breakout season this year for sure. Plus, he's going to have a lot more talent around him. I mean, just look at our midfield and some of the through balls that he's going to receive. He moves so well. He's so fast. And he can play across the line, interchange with Gordon, interchange with Murphy as well to run the channels. I think that he's going to, I know this is maybe too optimistic, but I think he's going to run away with it. Certainly my first pick of my fantasy league.
All right, Magnus, top scorer next season, Alexander Isak, can he do it? Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
For sure he can. I am estimating him. There was only 2 scorers ahead of him last season. He wasn't even fully fit throughout most of the season. And I'm saying yes. I think he's a big favorite for the goal scorer, the Golden Boot, even of Europe for next season. Right now, he's got the competition from 2 lads that are Callum Wilson, England international, and a youngster that is our new Danish, hopefully. Well, I mean, it's not confirmed yet, right? We are expecting Osula to be signed any minute now, and this is why I put on the Denmark shirt today. Are you hearing me all right? Are you hearing me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm very excited to get, we have 2 Scandinavians up top, man. You know, this is exciting, man. You know, we only need 1 more. We only need one more, and then we can call it. We already have the 3 amigos. How about the 3 Vikings up front? Well, that would be something. You know, I am excited for the new season. I didn't quite get to finish my quote. I expect us to win one trophy, and I expect it to be the FA Cup rather than the Carling Cup, because I think we're still getting our feet sort of settled in the first half of the season. However, I am expecting us to win the FA Cup and fourth in the league and semi-finalist in the Carabao Cup.
Okay. Darren, can Isak become top scorer next season?
I think he finished behind Haaland by 1 or 2 goals. So he's definitely be challenging because the amount of goals he scored last year was unreal. But you'll
Get rid of it.
But I do think Haaland will just nick it again.
All right, great stuff. Didn't expect anything else. Spenny?
Sorry, I've got someone messaging us.
All right.
Is it Isaac?
What was the question then? Sorry. Or is he getting a golden boot? Yes, of course he will. 30 games last season, scored 21 goals. Got to be one of the favourites. I've just put 20 quid on 14 to 1 save as well. Money in the bank.
It's money in the bank. It is money in the bank. Big shout out to Alan, by the way, who's continuing to watch the show when he's on holiday. Here he is in another restaurant, completely avoiding Maureen when he watches NUFC Matters. Good lads. Good lads.
Good lad, Matt.
He's just checking how much we spend in the season, isn't he? On his phone.
He is. I hope you're having a good time. He said he looks like a conker. That's what he looks like. That's the colour he looks like.
You like negativity.
Yeah, Alan, what's your? No, he won't. He can't walk away though. He can't go into his. He can't go into the back room when you come on, Darren. So he's probably left the restaurant now. Alan,
he's doing the pots in the back.
He is. He said, "I'll wash you up, mate." Alan, what's your views? Can Isak finish top scorer?
Yeah, definitely could finish in the top 3 without a doubt. And lads, honestly, every time I go on a different podcast, the first name, everyone, Dan Potts of Arsenal TV, all the YouTubers, the first name they mention is which player would they have in that team, and Isak's number 1. They're all desperate to sign him if they could. If the club went for him, they all want. That's how big he is around the country, and I think he definitely could be their golden boot this year. It depends on how we do. It's all about service lads, and I definitely think he'll definitely be in the top 3. Let's put it that way. And if you put a bet on Spenny, you'll have a good run for your money. That's for sure.
There we go. That's a good one. Thank you, Davey Eddie. I might put it on again. He says, if you've got the 2 to win the treble for £1 with Sky, bet it's 6,000 to 1. 12 to 1 for the FA Cup, 14 to 1 for the Carabao Cup, 33 to 1 for the Premiership. I might stick a quid on myself for the crack. Go for it, mate. Go for it. Do it. Positive. Okay, finishing off.
Magnus might be right, Nick, man. He's back by his Vikings mind. I'll just give you a clue. He might be wearing a Sweden top next week.
Yeah, that's it.
No, okay. I bought this shirt only because I was in Denmark when the Euro started. I didn't have a team at the time. I wanted to get Laudrup. They didn't have it. Okay, I'll just finish the story because they said but we got Højlund and we got there was that other player that Eriksen, and I was just like, no, there will be no Man United player on the back of my shirt. So I said to her, can you please put at least Simon Kjær, the one that saved Eriksen's life that Euro 2020. So for me, he's a big hero from that time. I know red doesn't even suit me, but I did it because we are expecting a signature any minute now of the great Dane called William Osula, and I find great hopes for this guy. I will call him the Great Dane. I hope this name catches on.
Okay, good stuff.
So.
Kev, finishing with you, mate. Who do you think? Do you think Isak will win the Golden Boot if he stays fit?
He should, and he should stay fit with this new high performance director that's just come in.
He spoke really well.
Holistic approaches very well, and I could listen to them all day. That's just my remit of high performance and all that sort of thing. But anyway, I agree with you, Ian, in terms of I think Isak's a better footballer, all-around footballer than Haaland, to be perfectly honest. Haaland just plays within the width of the 18-yard box, and he lets Man City create the opportunities and little cutbacks here or there, excuse me, and just chuck the ball in behind and use his pace. And that's how he gets all of these goals. Isak creates more for others. I think he's more of a team player than Haaland, so therefore with that, I think he's going to be assist leader. If you're looking at statistics, I think he'll come in with a large amount of assists for bringing players into play, and I think you'll get what do you got, 20 yards, something like that. What do you get, Spenny? You said 31 or something like that last. What do you get? Something like that. I think you'll get
21 and 30 games, mate.
All right. Well, I'll put my neck on the line and say I think he'll get 30 goals this year, and I genuinely believe that he'll stay fit and consistently fit, just with the new remits and the new methodologies that have been going to be put in place for the season. So yeah, I think he might just nick it by a fraction, but hey, that's all what matters.
Yep, it is. I just want to shout out 2 seconds, George. I just want to shout out about this. The Super Six in the FF League will be announced this week, later in the week. I haven't got time to do it tonight. Julie has kindly set them up because obviously we've got John is at the moment having a little bit of time out for family reasons. So thanks for that, Jules. I will make the announcements. I just need to have a little bit more time to be able to look over it, do it, and then announce it. But we'll be having a Super Six, etc., and I'll make the announcements of how you can join. It'll be Thursday's show, and I'll repeat it on Friday and over the weekend as well for the last live shows this week. Okay, guys. Thanks everybody for joining us. Cracking night. Great stuff from Kev, from Alan, from Spenny, from Darren, from Magnus, from Tom, from Ian and Barry, and George. You did want to say something before we're finished?
Well, just to follow up what Kevin was saying, I don't think it's any accident that Wilson had that back operation only a month after the high performance guy came in. And that's to alleviate his groin problems, I would guess, and other problems he's had, muscular problems. And this guy knows a lot about all that sort of thing. So I don't think it's an accident that Wilson got that operation.
I'm going for the 3-1 win first game of the season.
Same here, Darren.
Yeah, well, well reminded, mate. Prediction, because we won't have a show before then. So prediction for Southampton at home, George. First from you.
4-0.
4-0. Barry.
3-0.
Ian.
4-1.
Tom. Oh, you're on mute.
Sorry, 4-0. I'm agreeing with George.
4-0. Magnus.
5-2, just to make it exciting.
Kevin.
Oh, I'm sorry, I couldn't hear with all after. 4-1.
Alan.
3-1.
Spenny. Oh, you're on mute.
10-0.
Keep it that way.
6-0.
6-0.
Wow, steady.
I'm going to go for 7-0. And Darren?
3-1. Some positivity.
Hey.
To Southampton.
No.
Well, I nearly got the first fixture right, Steve. I predicted Southampton away, but it's a 2, I'm afraid.
Exactly. Enjoy your week off, lads. I'm looking forward to seeing you.
Boys.
When we come back to the Southampton game. Take care, guys.
Good to see you, boys.
Take care, everyone.
Take care.
How are you, lad?